All right, it's time to talk basketball. I'm Jose Salviati, editor at thebeachbasket.net. He is Steve Purciello, a longtime educator, vice principal, high school basketball coach, athletic director, and also the host of Celtic Chalk Talk. Celtic Chalk Talk is a pod dedicated to the latest news and opinions surrounding the Boston Celtics, who just got Jayson Tatum back. We'll talk about that today. From a lifelong fan, Steve. That pod will drop new episodes every Monday. This is the Shot Clock Pod, the best 24 minutes of NBA thoughts online anywhere. The podcast was born out of the content in Steve's 13 Rules Random NBA Thoughts articles, which he publishes weekly. Steve and I have exactly 24 minutes to discuss what's on his mind around the NBA. Today, we'll discuss his latest 13 Rules Random NBA Thoughts article, where he shares his random thoughts after week 20, which includes a little nugget on Jayson Tatum. Let's see. Oh, yeah. If you've gotten this far, please subscribe, comment. All that stuff means the world to us, and we're grateful for all of it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Steve, are you ready?
Ready.
Let's go. Clock is ticking. All right, we'll start with the Charlotte Hornets. The Clippers, right, started off abysmally, and then they had a resurgence, and they've been looking really good. I know they're coming off a loss, but you did a little deeper dive into the Hornets' hot streak. Tell us a little bit about that. What's been the secret sauce there?
First of all, it's a little bit different in the Clippers because they've got young talent. Brandon Miller is really a good ball player. LaMelo Ball is finally figuring out how to play with a team. Miles Bridges can play. They're getting something from Diabate, the center, who's playing and can defend and do things. And most importantly is Knueppel, who's really put everything together for them. So they've got talent, and it's young talent, which means they're going to be a rising team in the Eastern Conference over the next couple of years, which is odd to say because they usually stink, to be honest with you, Charlotte. And they've got a future unless something crazy happens and they can keep these guys signed and happy and they're willing to spend money, they're going to be fine. They started out 16-28. Charles Lee, who was considered a pretty good assistant coach. They hired him 2 years ago, and they struggled last year. And this year, they struggled to start. Supposedly, he and Melo Ball had a little where he started benching him in tough games. And I think LaMelo grew up a lot from that and handled it the right way and improved his game. And since that 16-28, what is it, 16-4? And the interesting thing is they won 6 in a row until they lost to Miami the other night. But every game, every one of those games were blowout wins. Closest game in that stretch was a 16-point win over Portland. That means everybody else they beat was greater than 16-point wins. So it's really, that's dominance if you think about it. And they've got something going. And it's got to get better because of the youth.
Yeah, and it can't get any worse, right? You nailed it, right? The Hornets have been bad for a very long time. And there's one thing to be stuck in the middle, right? Where you're good enough to make the playoffs, but not good enough to win it all, but not bad enough to get a top draft pick. The Hornets have just been a little lower than that. This has just been a not good franchise. They've been terrible. Apologies to Charlotte, but this is good to see.
I'm going to think, right now, I think they're 10th. Which means if they do make the playoffs, they have to make it the hard way, and they'd only play the first seed. Yeah. However, I don't think any of the teams want to see them in a playoff series because they're dangerous. They're really dangerous because they can shoot, and they play hard, and they try to defend. They're not as great defensively, but they're good. And so you put it all together, and you got a young team on the rise. Nobody wants to see that because it'll be work to put them away.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got it right. Yeah, they are 32, currently in 10th, so they're in the play-in. They're about 3 games out of moving up into the
if they get to 8th or 7th, then they can play the second-place team as well as the first-place team. But it makes it a little bit better for them. Don't forget, in the Eastern Conference, there's 5 teams that are already. Milwaukee's not, but they're close to packing it in, meaning they're all playing for the lottery. Yeah. They're just about in, unless something crazy happens.
Yep. Good for Charlotte. I think it's good for basketball. I haven't watched a single Hornets game this season, I'll be honest with you, but I'm excited to watch them play.
They're fun to watch. They're a good watch.
Yeah,
I've seen a
you get
couple of
that
their games
sense.
in the last couple of weeks.
You get that sense. I'm excited to watch them. All right. Interestingly, you mentioned LaMelo Ball, arguably the best player on that team. He and his coach had a little dust up, and it worked. That relationship between the coach and the player, the best player on your team, super, super important. You've got to have a mind meld between them. You got to have some synergy. It's important. We say that because you wrote about a little dust up that Luka Dončić, the best player on the Lakers, had with his coach. Now, JJ Redick has come out and said, it was nothing. It's normal. It's no big deal, which is what coaches always say when stuff like this happens. I imagine PJ Carlissimo said that about Latrell Sprewell. It's no big deal. He just grabbed my neck. It's fine. Everything's okay. But if there's more here, that's a problem for the Lakers, right?
What are they saying out in L.A.? Did they make a big thing out of this?
No, it's honestly nothing. When it happened, certainly there was a lot of talk about it, and people said, "Oh, it must be something. It's got to be something." But then JJ Redick came out and said, "No, it's nothing." And you
Well,
take JJ Redick at his word.
he's going to deny it, of course.
Sure.
He's a player. He's a former player, so he gets the whole game. But I guess the underlying piece to this is that the player, the star player's got more say than the coach. And I'm not talking about during the game. I'm talking about in the with the hierarchy. And you don't want to cross them. The most important thing you can do as an NBA coach is develop a strong relationship with your best player or players, whatever the case may be. Redick thing is interesting. I think I've talked a little bit about this because new ownership, you don't know what they want to do. Are they going to? They hired Bennett, Dick Bennett's son, to run this, not run, but be part of the draft team. He's a former coach, though he was a college coach. You don't know who knows who within the hierarchy and so on. You wonder about it. To me, I think J.J. Redick is a very innovative, bright coach. So
Yeah.
I think the Lakers are making a major mistake. But you don't know. There's a lot more to it in relationships and things like that among different people that it could change it. So who knows on this? And Luka, they just got him for a couple more years. He's not an easy guy to coach. That's the best way to put it. He's what is it? He needs one more technical, and he has to sit out a game. He's still barking at referees. He's still walking up the court to defend, and after he barks at them, and nothing's changing, and nothing will change in his world. So
Right.
that's a difficult person to coach. And now you
Yeah.
complicate that with LeBron, who's not an easy guy to coach. I mean, it's not an easy situation. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
So I'm gonna ask you something. You watched the game for a long time. You just said that the best player leads the team, right? And that's true, right? I think when it's a conversation between the best player and the coach, oftentimes the best player is going to win. When did that change? Was Bill Russell the best player, arguably, in those teams? Did he stand up
No,
to who's the dude who
no.
smoked the cigar? All of a sudden, the name it didn't
Red
happen, right?
Auerbach, Red
Red
Auerbach.
Auerbach.
But
Jeez, I forgot
no,
that. It
you didn't.
switched.
That's a good question. I think with the advent of more money and the ridiculous amount of money the players are making, and to put an exact year, Pat Riley coached into the 2000s, right? And he was always the boss, and that's the way it is.
Yeah,
But I think it depends on the organization because I think even now Riley will back Spolstra for different things, but depending on the organization. But I guess over the last 20 years or so, things began to change. And if you have a big time player with free agency, you don't want to lose them. Obviously, talent wins. And I think back in the day, I guess in my young days, people thought the coaches had more impact in the game than the player. We've learned differently over those years. And with
yeah,
that means you get the best players, not the best coach, get the best players.
yeah. I'll tell you, my first memory of it was the '80s Lakers. Paul Westhead
Yeah, yeah,
over the Lakers, right? And he was very innovative, and he started changing up things. And the Lakers were winning at the time.
right.
And Paul Westhead said, "No, I'm gonna have my point guard Norm Nixon at the time, my favorite Los Angeles Laker. I'm gonna have him set some picks down low at the post. Guards didn't move down there. Norm Nixon was like, what is going on here? He just changed everything. Magic Johnson wanted to just run. So Magic said, no. I'm not going to do this. Next thing you know, Paul Westhead is out. And that was my first recollection of kind of a player standing up to a coach and the coach getting out of there.
The modern coach, and I'm going to use Joe Mazzulla, he gets it. And he gets it in the way that he takes part. Like when players have some family thing or whatever, he's involved. He's there. He goes.
That's
And
cool.
that's what the modern coach needs to do to build some sort of rapport with these people.
Yeah.
It's not like it used to be where the coach says jump and players jump. And the coach. And by the way, and think about it. How many times do you think LeBron in a huddle was told they're going to run this play, and LeBron, no, we're not. We're going to do this. And who do you win? Yeah. So that's where the change is. And everybody wants LeBron, so they're going to do what he says.
Yeah. Yep, that is the kind of the evolution of the game. Let's talk about Missoula's team. They got, and we've been talking about this on this show all along. If the Celtics can hold their head above water at the start of the season, they get Jayson Tatum back, it could be great. Not only did they hold their head above water, they're great. They're a very good basketball team, and now they've got a very good basketball player. Not coming off the bench, he started in his first game back. So I still haven't seen any highlights of it. Tell us a little bit about what Jayson Tatum back means for the Celtics and how he looked in his first game.
He started the first quarter terrible. I think he was 0 for 6, and he was nervous, and I think just everything was not good. And he got a couple assists early, but in the second quarter, there was a missed shot, and he came from the weak side and just grabbed it and put it back in, dunked it back in. Earlier in the game, he missed a dunk. He didn't get up high enough, and you start wondering, does he still have trouble? So that was something that you saw early. But then by the time in the second half, he hit a three from the corner, deep in the corner. It was really big time. So then you started saying, hey, this guy can play, still can play, and he still got something. And he almost had a triple double 15, 12, 7. I mean,
Right.
that's pretty good. And he only played, what, 30 minutes? I don't even know the minutes, but he didn't play like Jayson Tatum did. Now, as for the Celtics, you have to understand they lost Drew Holiday. They lost Porzingis, although he was always hurt. They lost Horford, who was a big factor in that team. So, and Luke Cornett, who was another factor in that team. They've replaced them with Keita, who's become a legit center.
Yeah.
They've replaced him with a bunch of guys like Shireman and Ugo Gonzalez have replaced Holiday. Not as good, but they're adequate and they can defend, and you've got enough points coming, so you're okay with that. So they're pretty good. Now, I'd say they're dangerous, and to win to get to the finals, they have to go through the Knicks. That isn't easy. And what I'm trying to say on that is, with the Knicks have more talent right now. It would be a tough season, and it's very important that Boston can hold on to second place because they'd have the home court, and that might be a factor. But it would be a difficult uphill climb to beat them. I really think, and Detroit's struggling right now, but I really think if Detroit finishes first, it's opportune for everybody, for Boston, Cleveland, not the Knicks, because the Knicks struggle with Detroit, but for them,
Yeah.
somebody to finish fourth. Because if you finish fourth, the Knicks are on the side, and you can worry about them in the next round. Because I think Detroit is not really as good as what people think. They're struggling. Like I said, last night they blew a game to the Nets. So they're struggling, and that's my take. But I just think the Knicks have more talent, and they're starting to figure it out, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, yeah. The East has always been a little bit of a wild west, right?
Yeah.
Coincidentally, and now with the with the Celtics at number two, currently at number two, getting Jason Tatum back, it just makes it wilder. It's gonna be a lot of fun. The Cavs right now are in that number four spot. Do you see them holding on to it?
I think they can. I think there's a lot of questions here. I think they need to figure out. The Knicks have always owned them, and they need to figure that one out.
Yeah,
James Harden doesn't play well in the playoffs. Those are factors. Mitchell's great, and those are factors. I think they're good. They're flat out good because they're getting Harden on the court. Garland wasn't on the court.
yeah.
So it's a major difference. Yeah, they're dangerous. They're a dangerous team. I would rank them if I were to rate the teams. I would say they're the third best team in the East.
Behind?
The Knicks in Boston.
So the
That's my
number one team in the East is your fourth best team.
well. I don't. Detroit's now coming down a little bit. I just don't think they're well rounded. How's that the best way to put it? They don't have
Okay.
the offensive firepower besides Cade. Cade didn't play last night. They're in trouble when he doesn't play. Thompson's been hurt. So don't forget they lost two shooters in Hardaway and Baisley, and they picked up one shooter, Duncan Robinson. If you ask me, I'll take both the guys they lost before I'll take Duncan Robinson. So you went to three. You watch them play, and teams don't even guard Ron Holland. And they guard him when he gets in the paint. But in other words, when he gets the ball up top, they don't go near him. They let him shoot because he's a 27, 28% shooter. So you have to have, for Tatum and Brown to do well, and I'm using Boston because it's a good example, you need everybody able to shoot on the perimeter. If one guy can't, the defense can drop, and that changes the whole thing. And
Yeah.
so that takes away Cade Cunningham's game when a Holland or someone like that is on the court. And those are things that people don't see. And Cade Cunningham's really good. And if you get him with guys space that can shoot, he becomes much better. I think Detroit's got a lot of flaws. They're
Yeah.
tough, they're physical, but they're not. They're a good team. But I don't know if they, in talent, rank up with the
Yeah.
teams I just talked about.
Interesting. And those little flaws are generally exposed in the
Yeah,
playoffs, right? That's where the little flaws become big flaws. Yeah.
yeah,
All right, fair enough. Outstanding. Let's shift focus here. You wrote about the NBA rookie race. It was a clear, it was not really a conversation. It was Cooper Flagg, right? From the start up
yeah.
until recently. And now Knueppel is probably, I don't know. I love the way you put it here, right? Because I think this encapsulates it really well. And I agree. If you're voting for who impacted their team and has been more effective, it's Knueppel. But if you're voting for who will be the better player in their career, it's Flagg. So it comes down to what do you want? Which player? It's a toss up right now. What do you think?
It is a toss up. I think that the Flag has got unlimited potential. He's
Yeah.
playing with a team that's really just thrown in the towel. But what's really interesting, Knueppel is part of a group. Flag is the group.
Wow.
If you watch Dallas play, it all goes around Flag. Knueppel's smart. He'll get himself into spots and get himself open, and he can shoot. But he's not the cog like Flagg is. Flagg has got. Some people are comparing Knueppel to Larry Bird. I believe Flagg has got some Bird-like qualities. He doesn't shoot as well as Bird did, but he can do a lot of the things that Bird can do. He can rebound well. He's a better defender, not as good a shooter as I said, but he's got those all-around qualities. And if I'm going to pick somebody, I know that he's played 12 less games than Knueppel. He's been hurt a lot.
Yeah.
I got it, but I look at Flagg. In 5 years, if he doesn't get it, people say, "How the hell did he not get it?" Because he should be just a franchise player.
When we talk about the MVP, and I talked about this in Run It Back, another show we do last week, about how the MVP is super subjective. Is it the best player on the best team, best score? What is it? It's silly. But we oftentimes do talk about the best player, the MVP, should be on a good team,
Of
right?
course.
The MVP is not going to be somebody who's on the Sacramento Kings. Apologies to the Kings. But we don't usually hear that argument with the Rookie of the Year. Now, if we do, Knueppel, he's on the better team
Yeah,
by far.
no
Does that
question.
matter? It should, shouldn't it?
No, because let's compare what Dallas has and what Charlotte has. Think about it now. You got Brandon Miller as a player. You got anybody outside of Flagg who can match Brandon Miller? Do you have anybody outside of Flagg on Dallas that can match LaMelo Ball? Do you have anybody on Dallas who can? Do you see where I'm? Miles Bridges. These are players.
Yeah.
You don't. If you were to pick teams, you might get Flagg, might go first, maybe, but then the next three or four picks are Charlotte. So it's not comparable. The one thing that I will say, if he goes under 65 games, obviously he doesn't. And to me, I know they're making a big thing about the 65 games. What I'm going to say to you is this. If you only played 60 games, you shouldn't be voted for. You missed 25% of your games. So
Yeah.
why, if you missed that many, how could you impact winning if you've missed that many games? So if you're going to look at that, I can understand if Flagg gets under the 65, I can understand Knueppel getting it. But otherwise, I think Cooper Flagg he's fun to watch and he's really a player. Knueppel's got to be set up by his teammates to do things. Flagg can do it by himself.
Okay. Interesting. I can't remember the last time we had a rookie of the year race like this, which I don't know, it's
That's
exciting. Maybe, yeah, Bird Magic, maybe going way back.
yeah.
All right, let's finish with. We got a couple minutes. Clock is winding down, but I want to talk about the Magic. Now, when they made their trades in the offseason, we were high on this team. You were,
Yeah.
I was. But right now, they're just in the middle. They're 34-28, coming in sixth right now in the East, and they've really underperformed. What went wrong in Orlando?
There's a lot of issues. I think Jamal Mosley, who did a great job until this year, and now he's coming under pressure, and nobody wants to see him lose his job. However, when your best star says teams are adjusting at halftime, we don't really adjust to their adjustments. That's Paulo Banchero.
100%.
He's taking a
Yep.
shot at him. And here we go again with the star player and the whole thing. Now,
Yep.
I'll throw something off to the side, but is Paulo the star? He's having not as good a year. And let me just throw this one out. What happens if he got traded for Giannis after the season? But let's leave that. Let's just,
Okay.
it's an interesting thought. But now, what I'm going to say about it is Mosley didn't take it. And he came back at Paulo and said the one adjustment Detroit made is they play harder. Think about that. That's a shot back. He isn't taking that crap from this kid.
Yep.
And it's a real interesting question. Now, does Orlando want to settle down and have Banchero for the next 10 years? Probably. And if they do, you got to do something here. And that's where it is. And a year or two ago, when Orlando was beginning their rise, Cole Anthony made a statement along the line. He's not there anymore, but he made a statement along the line. We all like each other. We like playing together.
Yeah.
That's not there anymore, obviously.
Just in under the buzzer. That's why I was so quiet for those that are listening and not watching. Outstanding. Well done. I've always, we're going to go over anyway because I got to talk about this. Liking the players you play with is great. It's nice. You want to show up to work and enjoy the people you work with. But it's overrated, man. I don't have to like you to win, right? It's just a nice cherry on top, isn't it? If you like each other.
Well, if you think about it, if you like playing with each other, you help each other.
Yeah.
And I think you go back to something that's really important in any walk. Character is very important.
True.
And in this case, when a player, and I know he's frustrated, he's not playing real well, Banchero, but you shut your mouth. You don't take a piece of somebody else when you're not doing well.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that quite says about him. He's still young, he's not mature enough yet, but it doesn't say good things. And like I said, character is always the best thing you can have. And I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if that's what's missing. Teams will overachieve when they like each other and they like playing together and they're in sync with the coach. And teams will underachieve when they don't like each other and they don't like their coach. So
Yeah.
that's my answer to that. And generally, you got to understand, we all root for the laundry, meaning we root for the team name on the jersey.
Mm.
These guys are looking at their next contract. These guys, if I can make X amount of money, I'll never have to work or I can play for the rest of my do whatever I want.
Yeah.
There's a lot there in there. So naturally, they do want their stats. But what I'll say back to you is, let's take the case of a guy like Alex Caruso, a middling offensive player at best, but boy, he can defend. And you know what? What has he made? 50, 60 million?
Yeah.
At least.
Sure.
That's enough to you, your kids to have good lives.
Yeah.
So if you have a role, play it well and people will recognize it and you will make some money.
Yep. Yep. Outstanding. Well done. Yeah, I think of the 1970s Oakland A's that won some world championships and absolutely seemed to hate
Baseball is a totally different
totally
game.
different. Okay. Okay.
Think
All
about
right.
it. If I go 0 for 3, everybody sees it. In basketball, it's what we did. And
Yeah.
how we played because they're intermeshed. The third hitter on a baseball team has nothing to do with the fifth hitter.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different game. Where in
Yeah.
basketball, if you like somebody and he's open, you're going to get him the ball.
Or you're
And
not if you don't.
yeah, yeah.
I got it. All right. Well done. Outstanding. All right. We actually came in under the buzzer, but I kept talking. So that violation is on me. I will take the L there, but our time is up. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure to read Steve's entire 13 Rules Random NBA Thoughts article. He's got a couple of other comments on things. Now I don't have them up here. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Some Giannis rumblings, the problem the Bucks are in, the Thunder's depth. Make sure to read Steve's entire article to get all of his thoughts after week number 20. And of course, join us next week for more NBA Random Thoughts as we recap week number 21. We'll talk then. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.